Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Simple Life of Jolene. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to the Simple Fam. So today I'm gonna do something different and I'm gonna do a story time. So I'll be drinking some pineapple mango girls night out wine. So let me pour some in so I can make this video all nice and juicy. Perfect. So I'm gonna give a story time and tell you about my experience with online dating, how I almost got, not almost, how I got strangled. I could have died. Thank God I was here to share my story, and I'll also share with you why I don't really do online dating. So if you want to hear my crazy story time of what happened to me back when I was younger with my online dating experience, well, keep on watching and let's get into the video. Yay! Yes guys, welcome back to my channel. So before I get into the video, I just want to say, if you're not subscribed, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, mash up that notification bell. That way you're part of the Simple Fam and you know every time when I upload. So now let's get into my video. So today I wanted to give you an experience. So this happened when I was like 17, and this was when the internet was just coming around. Yeah, so the internet just coming out. There's computer, but they're just the internet. So you know, we start having those chat rooms. So I remember I went on this, they had this chat site called RJR chat back in the days, for whoever know. So this is where you can go and meet other like Jamaicans or whatever people that goes to the chat. So I remember meeting this guy, can't remember his name, but it's good, let's keep his name anonymous. Let's call him Steve. So I met this Steve online and we start talking. And I remember when I met him, we were talking online and he's like, I want to meet you, I want to meet you. But I was just talking online for fun. But I remember I was like, I don't want to meet him. You know, he was very persuasive. He's like, I want to meet you, I want to meet you. So back then, you know, you're in high school, you don't drive, you go away. So I remember I went to, so I live in Toronto, so there was this big mall in Toronto called Eaton Center. So I went with my cousin, and I, you know what it is about peer pressure. Peer pressure is a hell of a thing, I should tell you. So I went to Eaton Center with my cousin, and she was like, call that guy, call him, let him come meet us here. Maybe he can drive us home so we don't have to take the train and whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't want to meet him. That's crazy. What if he's a psycho? What if he's this? Because I was kind of like that person. I was very kind of like, what should I say? When it comes to certain things, I was very cautious. Yeah, I was very cautious because I was always thinking, like, you know, you hear all these crazy stories about people, you can meet some crazy people online. So I was pretty hesitant to do it, but my cousin was like, come on, let's meet him. So I was like, fine. So I called him and I'm like, hey, I'm at the Eaton Center, come and meet us. So when he came, he saw me, and as soon as he saw me, he was like, oh my God, he fall in love. So he was like, when other guys were looking at me, he's like, why are those guys looking at me? So he was starting to be very like overprotective, kind of like controlling, kind of like crazy. And I was like, what do you mean guys are not looking at me? And he's like, yes, they're looking at me, you're my woman, so they shouldn't be looking at you. And I'm like, I'm not your woman. I'm like, we just met, like we're friends. And he's like, no, I'm your woman and stuff. So we're there and we were talking, and I remember when I met him, I think, yeah, he drives. So I remember I was saying to my cousin, I don't know if I want him to drive me home. He's kind of like crazy. And she's like, no, you're overthinking it. And I'm like, no, there's something about him. And she was like, no, girl, you're being crazy. Just play along and whatever. So I'm like, fine. So we were talking to him. I remember, I can't remember if he drove me, but I think he drive us to the GO station or something, and we took the train and we go back. So next crazy, so me and him were still talking on the phone, and he was talking to me, and he's like, oh, you're so pretty, you're such a nice girl, guys must be flaunting at you. And I'm like, no. And then he's like, I really like you. And I was like to him, I'm like, I'm not looking for a relationship, I just want like friends. And he was getting all crazy. So he's like, whenever you come back to Toronto, I want to see you. So it ended up that I was going to a hairdresser to do my hair. So I went to the hairdresser, I did my hair, and he called me and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm at the Eaton Center doing my hair at the hairdresser. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna come see you. And I'm like, no, it's okay, whatever. And he's like, no, I insist, I'm coming to see you. I'm like, okay. So when he came and see me, the hairdresser that did my hair was a guy, was this dread guy, very nice, he was good at it. So he did my hair, and so when he came, he saw him and he's like, hey, what's up? And then I'm like, you know him? And he's like, yeah, I know him. And then he start like holding my hand, and he's like, oh, let's go. And he's like, why is he looking at you like that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? This hairdresser was getting all like very controlling. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, relax, I'm here, you're not dating, why are you acting like this? And the hairdresser guy had to say to him like, are you dating this guy? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't know what's his problem, like, guy, like, back off, like, serious. And he was like getting on my, like, we're leaving right now, let's go. And my cousin had to say to him like, what's wrong with you, calm down. And then he's like, no. So then same time he was like, my cousin, he's like, my cousin is at the North York Mall, and he's like, I'm gonna go watch a movie, do you want, the guys want to come? So I was like, I don't know, I don't think I want to come because the way you're acting. And then my cousin is like, relax, man, let's just go. And I'm like to her, no, something's up with this guy, he's crazy. And she's like, come on, just play along, let's go watch a movie. And I'm just listening, I'm like, why am I listening to my cousin? But looking back now, I was like, why did I listen to her? I could have kept myself in so much crap. But you know what happens when you're young, naive, peer pressure, you listen to people instead of listening to your instinct. So anyways, we went to the mall. So when I went to the mall, I met his cousin. Cousin was so nice. So me and the cousin were talking, and my cousin and my friend now was talking. So because I was talking to the cousin, he said I was showing his cousin too much attention. So he got mad and he's like, you know what, I'm taking you home, we're not watching any movie anymore, we're going home now, we're leaving now. So I'm like, what's your problem? We're waiting to watch a movie. Why are you acting like this? He's like, oh, the whole time we're here, you're talking to my cousin, you're ignoring me. And I'm like, you're talking to my cousin, I'm talking to your cousin, there's nothing, I don't want your cousin, we're just talking, like, you know, and it's two stranger meeting, you just kind of like hit it off. But I'm not saying to hit it off in the sense where I like him, like you just hit it off talking, like you just, like you almost like you know each other for a long time and you're just chatting. So he got all mad, he's like, we're leaving. So he grabbed my hand, he started pulling me, and his cousin was like, relax, why are you going on like that? And he's like, no, we're leaving, I'm leaving right now, we're leaving. So I was looking at my cousin, I'm like, what's going on with him? And then he's like, fine, let's leave. So his cousin is like, fine, let's go. So we went in the car. So me and my cousin went in his car. So we're there talking, and he's like, I really like you and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's good if you like me. But I said, I'm not looking for anything like that. We're friends. And I'm like, I don't like how you're going on. Like, you're very controlling. Like, you need to relax. Like, why you thingy? And he's like, you know, I really like you, and I hate the fact that all these guys looking at my woman, you're my woman, and they're supposed to not look at you. And I'm like, I'm not your woman, like, where did you get this from? I already told you and stuff. And he's like, you're my woman and stuff. So my cousin was in the car, my cousin is like, oh, you need to relax, like, calm down, why are you getting mad? Like, yo, you know what I mean? My cousin don't know these guys, and these guys can look if you want. He's like, no, they're not supposed to be looking at her and whatever. So same time my cousin came out of his car and said, I'm gonna go chat to his friend. So she was flirting with his cousin. So she's like, I'm gonna talk to his cousin. So she went in the other car. So when she went into the other car, she left me with this freaking crazy guy. So me and him were there talking, and we start arguing now. And I'm like, you need to freaking relax. Like, you're crazy. You need to take me home. I'm like, I don't want to see you anymore. I don't even know why I listen to my cousin and talk to you. Like, you have issue. Like, you really need some help. This guy, let me tell you people, this guy was like, I was 17, so he was like in his 20s, so he was older than me. So this guy was like acting all freaking like controlling, crazy. So while we were there talking, he was getting mad, and he's like, I really like you, don't understand. And he looked at me and he's like, you know what, if I can't have you, no one can. And I was like, what? are you talking about? He's like, as I said, if I can't have you, no one can. All of a sudden, people, I swear to freaking God with this one. The man started choking me, like choking me in the car. So I was sitting there, all I was thinking in my head is like, freak girl, it's either you freaking fight for your freaking life or this man is gonna kill you. So people, I should tell you, I freaking grabbed this man and I start freaking punching him, like punching him, because I was thinking like, no man, this man ain't gonna kill me in this car because it was just me and him. There's nobody, my cousin gonna leave me with this psycho man. So I start punching him and I start like, you know what I mean, like punching him. So he let me go and he let me go. I got released where I run out of this car. So I run out of this car now and I got mad and I'm like, I'm gonna call the freaking police. I'm gonna call the police. I'm like, you're crazy, you're psycho. So I came out the car and I start going towards the payphone. If you guys remember payphone, maybe a lot of you guys don't even know about payphone because everything changed, but we have the payphone where you put 25 cents in so you could call anybody. Sorry, so I went to the payphone and I'm like, I'm calling the freaking cops. So my cousin saw me, so she ran out of his cousin car, because his cousin car was in front of us, and she's like, what's going on? So he sped off when he saw now that I said I'm gonna call the cop. So he sped off. So I went to I'm gonna call the cops. I'm like, he's trying to strangle me. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, don't call the cops, don't do it. And the cousin is like, no, my girl, don't call the cops, just whatever, I'll talk to him. So he sped off and then he grabbed, I forgot to say it, he had, my phone was in the car, so he grabbed my phone and sped off with my phone. So his cousin had to call him and be like, yo, Bridget, why are you acting like this? You need to calm down, like bring the girl phone and stuff, like this is crazy. And then he was like cussing, F this, da going on. So the cousin is like, no, you need to relax, bring the girl phone, it's not cool. So he's like, okay, where are you? So he's like, I'm at some gas station down the road. So the cousin is like, okay, stay there, I'll come meet you, and you give her phone. So we went to the gas station. When we went to the gas station, he was parked there. So I came with the car and I'm like, as soon as I came with the car, he's like, get in the effing car now. And I'm like, I'm not getting the car with you. I'm like, you're freaking psycho, like you're crazy. Give me my phone. And he's like, what did I say? Get in the effing car now. And I'm like, I'm not going in. I'm never ever coming back in your car. You need help. You're crazy. You think I'm gonna come in your car and make you strangle me again? So I'm like, give me my phone. So same time he was like talking, I look over and there's a cop, and I'm like, do you want me to go call the cops on you? I'm like, you better give me my phone or else I'm gonna call the cop. So when he looked and he saw the cop, he fling my phone to me and then he speed off. And I remember I went into his cousin's car and I said to his cousin, I don't want nothing to do with him. He was like calling my phone, calling down my phone, and I just ignored it. I was like, I'm not answering it. So the very next day, so his cousin actually kind of tapped me up and said, I don't know what's wrong with my cousin. He has issue, just let it go, don't call no police and get anything involved with it. You got your phone now, so let it go. And I was like, what, it's fine, it's lesson learned. And I said to my cousin, you see what you got me in? If I didn't listen to you, this wouldn't happen to me. I told you I should have followed my instinct when I tell you I didn't feel right about calling this guy. And you're telling me to call him because of freaking ride. And if I listened to you now, I could have freaking died because you were in this damn, in this guy car talking to him. And I'm there and this man trying to strangle me. And because I was listening to you and you, I was pissed. And she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And I'm like, it's fine. So his cousin was like so nice enough, he's like offering, he's like, okay, I'll drive you guys home. So his cousin drive us home from Toronto. The time I was like we live in like half an hour from Toronto. So he drove us home. So he was so nice, he drove us home, he dropped us off, and I'm like, thank you so much. And the next day, people, I swear to you, I freaking changed my number. And from that day, I was what? 17, going 18, and I told myself I will never ever meet anybody online and go meet them in person, because I've always just I've always rerun that day in my head, and I'm like, God, I could have been one of those girls that you watch on TV, like on 60 Minutes or even on those prime news where they talk about people meeting people online and then they vanish and you never see them again, or they they kill them and stuff. But this guy was like a jealous crazy guy that I meet online on a chat that I was talking to innocently, and then meet him because of like peer pressure and like someone telling me to meet this person, and then I could have like end up dead because of his jealousy and his controlling way, because he didn't like the fact that other people were looking at me. So from that day I've always remembered, and every single time up to this day, and now I'm like in my 30s. This happened over 21 years, and every single time I go to Toronto and I pass North York mall, I've always remember right in front of the North York Mall, right at the front entrance, is where this man tried to strangle my ass, and I could have been, if I didn't fight back or anything, I could have been dead because of this, and just because I met this crazy stranger online that I thought, because you're talking to them, that person, and then when I meet them, it was a totally different crazy person, because he didn't know how to deal with other man looking at a woman, or looking at his woman, as he claimed at the time, which I wasn't his woman, but I'm just saying in the sense. So that was one of the reasons why I told myself that I would never go online and meet somebody and go on a date. And I think that's one of the things that affect me when it comes to online dating, and me looking at online dating and the stuff that can occur and all these strangers, because sometimes you meet people and you don't know what's behind that screen, because anybody can write everything and be like, oh my god, I'm so nice, look at my picture and da da da, but you don't know that person until you actually meet them, and how they might react to you, and how they might become obsessed with you, and and crazy thing. And one of the things I even tell myself, that I was so happy, because the next day I changed my number, but I was so happy that the fact that he never drove me home, so he never know where I live, because I'm just thinking, imagine if he know where I live. He could have, even when after that incident happened, he could have even come to my house and start like stalking me, or he wait out there until I come and even harm me and stuff. So that was one of the things I give thanks to. And from that day I just vowed to myself and said, anybody I'm gonna meet, I am gonna meet them in natural path. So I'm gonna meet them in natural natural passing, and either I meet them at the grocery store, I meet them at the mall, I meet them at I'm walking, or whatever, meet them in person. I know either way you can still meet people in person and still things can happen, but I'd rather meet them organic than meet them on the internet where I don't know these people or who I'm meeting. But I just wanted to share my experience with you, and that is the reason why I kind of tell myself that I don't do internet dating. I don't go on the internet looking for anybody because of what happened to me. And that's something that I traumatized me up to this day, that every single time whenever I go to Toronto and I pass that mall, I always bring back that memory, and I remember the exact spot, I remember the exact day, I remember the feeling of his hand around my neck. So for when people tell you about being traumatized about an event, I know exactly how I feel, because that's how I feel every single time when I go back or go to that mall or past that mall. I always bring back that memory. So that is pretty much that wrap up my video. But I just want to say, if you're doing internet dating and stuff, just be very careful and be mindful of who you're meeting, and just believe that sometimes who you meet on the internet is not always who it seems. So if you're meeting somebody, make sure you bring along a girlfriend or a friend, or tell them where you're going or who you're meeting with, because it was good that I had my cousin there, even though she wasn't there when the incident happened. But it was good that she was a car in front, so she was there to kind of like, calm me down and see me through the whole so I had that like a friend or a family to kind of lean on in the situation. But it was a crazy situation, and every time when I pass that mall and something, when I pass that mall, I always remember that exact day, that moment, that time, how his hand feel around my neck and everything. It was almost like I was traumatized, and now I know how it feels for other people who are traumatized with in certain situation or stuff when it arises, because it's something that always come back to you and flooded. So that's the kind of reason why I've stayed away from online dating and I've stayed away from the internet, and I'm so hesitant to meet people from the internet because of my my situation and what I've been through when I was younger. So that is it pretty much for my video. And I just want to say, for other people who are using the internet meeting people, just be mindful and be careful, because sometimes people are not who they seem to be. Maybe the internet is pretty much a lot more better now that everything has changed and so forth, but with me, I don't think my mind or how I feel about it, the internet dating will ever change because of my situation. But anyways, I'll end the video here. I want to say thank you guys for checking out my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.